Very good evening to our viewers. Thank you for joining us tonight on the evening review. My name is Tevo Jabela. Tonight on the platform we are joined by William Minnie. He is the spokesperson of the Landless People's Movement Youth Wing, which has been in the news today for matters that William will explain in a moment. Thank you for joining us, young man.
Good evening, Toivo. How are you?
Very good, thank you. Thank you for making time.
Can't complain.
Yeah. On Friday, you issued a statement.
Yes.
And you said that the University of Namibia is a spineless puppet of Swapo.
Yes.
Explain.
You see, Toivo, there's something that we cannot condone in life. And one of those things is hypocrisy. If the Pro-Vice-Chancellor issues a statement and it becomes a policy that there will be no political activity on a particular campus, and she said on all 12 campuses. And on Friday, we see that SPYL is mobilizing on the UNAM main campus. They're mobilizing, they're singing, they're dancing, and mind you, they're not hiding it. We have these people's numbers, we see it on their WhatsApp statuses, we see it on their social media, we see how elated they are to be parading there on campus, but no one said anything. So one must question, why is it that UNAM management must always be controlled by Swapo? Why is it that rules never apply to the Swapo Party Youth League, like this particular rule? That is why we call them spineless. And in all honesty, they are.
Yeah. What has been the situation on campuses prior to Friday as far as activities of political parties are concerned?
Prior to Friday, the UNAM Political Science Society scheduled an event, a political event, and it's a political society with political science students, mind you. There was an event organized, but the event was cancelled because of no political activity. There was a time where there was a lot of political activity at UNAM. You know, a lot of political parties have branches at UNAM. But that activity stopped in April after it was banned. So the situation is that, of course, young people are longing for political activity. I mean, we saw that young people today, when we were at UNAM, young people today came out and they were in support of what LPM was doing. And even though campus police, campus security and the police asked them to leave, they came to us, they took our flyers and they said that we stand with LPM because we want political activity on campus. And that is the spirit of young people that we like. Prior to this ban, there was political activity on UNAM. And that is where I believe that young people must start their political journeys. If we don't teach them politics, or if they don't engage in political activity at university where they are being groomed in terms of what they're studying, groomed in terms of maturing, groomed in terms of learning responsibility to exist as an individual beyond campus life once they finish their degree. So why can't they start their political activity there and then? If NANSO used to be on campuses, why not? If there's a political process in terms of how SRCs are even elected, why can't there be political activity? It's that type of hypocrisy that we don't like, and we will not stand for it, nor will we condone it.
Yeah. So your issue is twofold. One is the ban of political activity, but you are essentially saying if that is the standing order, then it must
apply to each and every political party. Yeah. And no party must be exempted just because they're the ruling regime.
Yeah, I don't know if you are a student at UNAM, but do you have any idea of what transpired? I saw videos of the Swapo Party Youth League marching on campus
on Friday. Yes.
Yeah, because it's one thing to organize yourself in a room, in a lecture hall, and maybe postulate your ideas. But to march
on campus,
on a campus that is under that kind of restriction, I thought it was what happened. The same Friday, I'm told, is what you alluded to earlier about the
UNAM Political Science Society.
Yes, because Ina Hengari was supposed to speak at that event.
Yes.
And I spoke myself to the lady, her name is Nicole, I can't remember her surname now, who is the chairperson of that society. And I engaged her extensively over the weekend about what transpired. And she said that she was informed by the university management when they made that proposition and application to host this event, that they were told that Ina Hengari cannot speak at the event because of the standing ban that is there, only to see the events of Friday.
Yes.
So clearly there is a problem there. But tell us about you, SPYL, LPM, then went to university today.
Yes.
What did you guys do there?
The main aim, Toevo, of us being on campus today was also to mobilize. And we were there with our little flyers, you know, just to give out our flyers also. It was supposed to be peaceful. But as we approach the gate, my car isn't branded, but there was a branded LPM car in front. As we get to the gate, the security said that, no, they're not going to open the gate. And we said, but we have a branch on campus, a registered branch that complies with the society regulations, a paid up branch with members and follows all the rules and guidelines that there is. So why can't we engage our branch as its mother body? We were stopped, we were denied entry, and we decided we're going to park our cars, then we're going to get out and mobilize on foot. And of course, they retaliated. We did disperse, walked on campus, dispersed. We came back just to find that campus security, and I believe the head of campus security, this man who was wearing this blue shirt, I can't recall his name, and another gigantic man became very violent. And one of our cadres, Mr. Michael Amushelelo, of course, said that if you can't allow us entry, then no one else can come out also. Because why can't we go in? Even a car that's not branded can't go in because the driver is the spokesperson and is wearing an LPM shirt. So we decided we are going to speak to campus security. People became violent, of course. There's a video on the Namibian Sun newspaper page on Facebook where one can clearly see the violence that erupted, but not from the side of the party, but from the side of the other people. And there was constant back and forth. But what we constantly explained and tried to make clear is, on Friday, when the Secretary General of the UNAM SRC for all 12 campuses was leading and mobilizing SPYL members of their branch on UNAM, playing their music loudly, and the picture that is circulating on the Namibian Sun is they can be seen walking down, coming to main gate. So do you guys want to tell us that you as campus security could not see those Swapo members and could not tell them to stop? So we engaged on that level, but clearly we were not being met with a peaceful side. There was no peace from their side, but the side that they brought was clearly to fight, was to disrupt, and the Namibian police was called. And to my surprise, it looks like democracy is not being exercised properly. Because based on what I saw today, it looks like we're a police state. That police must be deployed to threaten and intimidate members of political parties using state machinery. There are more than 20 policemen there. There were more than 6 police vehicles, including police vans, to intimidate a political party who came in peace.
I hear you. In your statement on Friday,
Yes.
William, you said we are neither shocked. This was now in reaction to the fact that the Swapo Youth League was allowed to gallivant
Yes.
on the campus.
Yes.
We are neither shocked nor surprised by UNAM's continued degradation into a Swapo puppet institution. We've always known that many within this so-called leadership hold their political position hold their positions not due to merit or academic achievement, but as a reward for their political bootlicking of the ruling party. Then you ended the statement by saying some of these management members had the audacity to contest in Swapo's electoral college last week, only to fail miserably, exposing their political incompetence and inability to even distinguish themselves within the corrupt halls of Swapo. Who are you referring to?
I believe we all know who the LPM Youth League was referring to.
If you are
and sometimes, Toivo, things are very obvious, things are very known, and sometimes it doesn't need mentioning.
So
because one can see.
If you are militant enough to go on campus, if you are militant enough to go on campus, you must be brave enough also to mention names.
For today, I'm not mentioning names. For today, I really want to be very peaceful. I want to be very peaceful because we are dealing with an institution of higher learning, which offers courses like political science. I don't think that UNAM management understands that political activity must take place on institutions of higher learning on those particular grounds. How do we want to shape these young people to participate in the democratic processes of our country if we're banning political activity? Their Secretary General is a 22-year-old young lady who is on the Swapo parliamentary list. That same young lady who was leading those mobilizers on campus. Similar to her, other young people also want to participate in politics. Why can't they? What is exactly the reason? Why is it that we are shutting down our young people at a time where 71% of them are dominating our population? Where 71% of them are going to be leading us in this upcoming election? Where they are going to decide the fate of this country? Why is it that we're shutting the young people down? An institution of higher learning that has 12 campuses all over this country. Why?
Yeah. I hear you. I think the university, apart from Feni Tuchawe that you spoke about now here, there is, I wrote in my editorial today that the universities generally have a history of being the El Dorado of politics, of shaping people into that civic citizens before they release them into society. Bernardo Swarbo, if I'm not mistaken, he cut his teeth in politics at UNAM.
Yes.
Pohamba Shifeta was president of SRC at UNAM. So many others. So UNAM, being a former UNAM student myself, even during my time there, it used to be a very vibrant environment. That's why it was a bit shocking in April when Ellen Namila issued that directive. And that directive of banning campus political activities was issued just hours before the affirmative repositioning movements society, also student society, was to host Jobampana that evening. And it had to be called. So it sounded as if it was actually targeted at that. And then we had academics at UNAM, Jobampana himself, Dr. Kasera, Professor Blau, Dr. Nakuta, all these guys. Emails were flying at UNAM that day, people saying, this is stifling, you're actually morphing this institution into, turning it into a very docile institution. How important is it, before you go for a break, how important is it that the ban itself, partisan, the bias is one thing of allowing one party to do these things while others are not allowed. But having that ban in place is quite problematic, isn't it?
It's a very problematic ban because you're policing students. You're policing students and you're telling them that they're not allowed to participate in political activity on their own campus in an independent state. Why are they policing young people? But Swapo Party Youth League is not being policed.
Yeah.
At all.
I hear you. That's why
And it's not correct, Toivo. It's not correct because we're policing and we're silencing young people.
Yeah.
Young people who are eager to participate in politics. If they were not eager, I don't think they would have also stood with us today.
Yeah, absolutely. We go for a very short break and return with William Minnie. We continue with William Minnie of the LPM Youth Wing on the evening review. William, it says here, and you didn't mention it in the first half of this conversation, because Namibian Sun here reports that Michael Amushelelo has been arrested for blocking an entrance at the university. So, has he been arrested?
Yes, he has.
Where is he? Was he taken away already?
Yes.
Oh, man.
With immediate effect.
I see.
He was cuffed, placed in a van, and taken away.
I see. Did anyone from the university management speak to you guys, or is it only the state security apparatuses that showed up?
The state machinery was what we engaged with majority of the time. We had to speak to student leaders. We had to speak to the SRC president. We had to speak with the Speaker of Student Parliament to say that we want to see the Pro-Vice Chancellor. We want to engage the Pro-Vice Chancellor because this is not correct. We want to know and we want to speak to her about lifting the ban because this cannot be the status quo on an institution of higher learning. The people that we did engage with from the side of UNAM were very hostile, very physical, and we simply tried to avoid them by all costs, even though they were very provocative. But majority of the time, we had to engage student leaders who were very happy to engage us, to de-escalate the situation, and that's all that we wanted because we came there for a peaceful demonstration and to mobilize and simply to engage the PVC. However, to speak on the arrest of one of our cadres, I have never seen police officers being so personal and showing in terms of behavior, language, body language, on how personal it actually is when it comes to him, where police officers can simply say, we have a prior case against you, and cuff someone immediately while they're asking, in this particular moment, why are you arresting me? And we all questioned. Even the students asked, and they took out their phones to ask, why exactly are you guys arresting him? What is it? They loaded him in a van. They put handcuffs on him immediately and dragged him, basically pulled him, dragged him to a police van, loaded him in. And we still had the question, what is the reason of arrest? What exactly is it? And he himself said that it must be personal. And if we could see it in terms of body language, in terms of behavior, on how they were with him from the get-go, but simply being agitated by LPM's presence, being agitated by Michael's presence, and it must be a vendetta and it must be personal. And I've never seen state machinery being used against civilians like that.
Yeah. Speaking of Michael Amushelelo, what kind of politics did he bring to LPM? Because he's been arrested so many times already at the picket lines, and today he showed up again and stood with the student command. Do you think that, the Youth League, I suppose, do you guys as party members welcome him and his militancy, or do you think that it's damaging the party in a way?
Firstly, when it comes to Michael, he's actually a very lovely person if you get to know him personally. He's a very lovely person and he's very passionate too. Very passionate about what he does. His style of activism, his robustness, his radicalism, his militance reminds me very much of pre-independence cadres and activists who did not condone nonsense, did not condone oppression. Because when Michael sees an injustice, he's going to address it. Whether you like it or not, he's going to address an injustice because he's very passionate about it. He wouldn't see something wrong and simply just leave it. And the reason why, as the LPM Youth Command element and as the LPM at large, we welcomed him so warmly, is because the LPM, in terms of its foundation, is a party that particularly speaks on the injustices in terms of land, in terms of society, political injustices too. So having a cadre like that, who can go onto the ground, go onto the ground and engage the masses, listen to what their problems are, listen to what they've been facing for 34 years, and actually do something about it, and to say, if it requires me to shut down a particular place, then I'll do it. If that particular thing that you are suffering requires me to go stand and shut down UNAM's gate, in order for it to be heard, in order for a ban to be lifted, in order for an error to be rectified, then he's going to do it. That type of militance, that type of bravery, that type of spirit undaunted, that is how young people must be. To say that we are rejecting the current status quo, we are rejecting the way that Swapo has been doing things, we will not sit quiet, we will not back down, we will not simply listen to their AI-generated speeches, we will go on the ground and challenge the status quo. That spirit of Michael is a spirit that as young people we must try to embody. Because at many times we see injustices and we're so used to simply turning a blind eye. That is not how it must be, and we mustn't continue living like that. That is why we welcomed him so warmly, and he's a very great cadre of ours, and we will always stand by him.
Yeah. If the university management, especially Helen Namila, if she had come and see you, do you think the situation would have still escalated to the extent that it did, or do you think that it would have perhaps calmed the situation and things would have turned out differently?
I believe it would have calmed things. Currently, the leadership on the ground, the Honorable Councillor Ivan Scraver, the President of the Youth Command, Mingandala, the Honorable Utara Mwotu, Member of Parliament, Venji Kandetu, one of our convention members, youngest actually, engaged Helen Namila in regards to the issue. If she had come out and seen us prior to that, I do not think that police brutality would have been at the level that it was. I don't think that the violence that we experienced would have gone to that length. I believe that it would have de-escalated the situation so quickly, because so many times we repeated, the President of the Youth League and I repeated, that we simply want to engage the Pro-Vice Chancellor. All we need is a discussion. All we need is at least 30 minutes to engage and to understand why this is the way that it is, but also at the same time to say, we ask and we demand that the ban be lifted with immediate effect, because this is election year and students must be able to mobilize on campus. All students from all political parties and associations and organizations must be able to engage. That is simply what we want. So if she had come out earlier, I do not think that Michael Amushelelo would even have been arrested. I don't think that state machinery would have been used to intimidate the way that it did.
UNAM spoke to Namibian Sun on Friday. They said that they have taken note of the Youth League or the Swapo Youth League's activities on campus, and that they have been called in. What do you make of that?
What
position?
are the repercussions? If they have been called in, what are the repercussions? What are they saying? Are they being called in and simply being spoken to, or is the society going to be dissolved? What are they saying?
What must happen?
What they should tell us, because if it's violated, and I believe that it's a policy. So if it's violated, why are they simply being called in? One day they're being called in, the next day it's apparently still an ongoing investigation. I don't know what about it is an ongoing investigation if there's video footage. I don't know what about it is supposed to be investigated. But if the ban still remains after today, and there's still an ongoing investigation, and the Swapo Party Youth League branch at UNAM has been called in, then serious measures must be taken to at least to say that all activity from the UNAM SPYL branch must then be banned for a certain period of time, or simply to say that they're dissolving the society because they did not comply with the guidelines and regulations of the university.
Final question to William. To what extent must political activities be allowed on campuses? Because it can also not be just willy-nilly. There has to be some measure of restraint. You don't want our universities to be turned into a hive for political rallies and sloganeering and all these kind of things. Yes. What is enough to be allowed?
Trevor, we speak to our youth branches. And what we say is, because we also understand that this is a place of learning and the environment must be conducive at all times. Hence, we say, when we deploy our cadres from the youth wing, from the branch, we say that your task is to mobilize peacefully. You give out flyers, you explain, you have a little stand. Anyone who is interested can come inquire about the party's ideology, the party's manifesto, the party's policies, the party's key pillars, stuff like that. So we are not turning it into a battleground of party against party. We are not turning it into a ground where it is a constant thing of politic here, politic there, politic where, but a conducive environment of political learning where mobilization can take place, recruitment can take place, but without the stuff that we saw on Friday from Swapo of walking down the stairs, playing loud music, singing Hatu Tange from the time of the liberation struggle that we don't even remember, to come do stuff like that. That is not what we're pushing for, because we understand what a learning environment is, especially at a tertiary institution.
William, thank you for coming through.
Thank you for having me, Toivo.
Yeah, wonderful. That's William Minnie. He's a spokesperson of the Landless People's Movement Youth Wing, speaking to us about very unfortunate events that have been unfolding at UNAM since Friday already today. Thank you for watching.